Now firstly, something I should have mentioned that is important. When you first turn on your transmitter and then you plug your battery into your 4-in-1, before you adjust these paddles, you want to check that your swash plate here is level. What you need to do is, with your bee on a flat surface, look from over here to over here and make sure that this is dead horizontal, and then turn the bee round nose on and do the same thing again. Look along these here and make sure they're dead level. If they're not, then what you need to do is determine which is the push rods that need adjusting. Disconnect your battery first, just for safety's sake. Pop off these links, the one that needs adjusting. Then these screw on, these push rods, the black plastic connectors at the top, just screw onto these metal rods here. So you can wind these up or down to adjust the length. Now one thing that's important is, I always use long nose pliers and just hold the metal part here before I twist this, because these are quite stiff, and if you try and force it round, you're going to put stress on your servo arms. So with long nose pliers on here, give these maybe half a turn or a turn at a time. It shouldn't be a lot out if it's out at all. Then reconnect your arm up again. Make sure your transmitter's on, your throttle's down. Reconnect your battery. Then look along again and make sure they're level. And you must do this before you adjust the paddles. If you've already adjusted the paddles and you've had to move this rod here, then you're going to have to check your angle on here again, because that may well have moved. But basically just keep adjusting it as need be until you can get it as spot on as you can. Because what will happen is, if one of these is lower than the opposite side, when you come to hover, the heli will always move to the lowest side of the cyclic on your swash plate. It'll always move to the lowest side. So obviously if you want a perfect hover, you need to get this plate as level as you can. Once you've done that, then move on to the paddles. Now we're on the home straight. We're nearly done. First thing, now it's powered up, these cutouts I was talking about earlier, it doesn't really affect me now because I've upgraded to a different set of skids. I've got the King 2 battery hanger and skids on, but when you've got the stock skids on, this canopy will be further back. So what you can do now is, with this side on, you can move these and just make sure these don't foul the canopy. When you push the canopy on and you push the lugs on, you just want it so you can just feel that bar here. Once you can just feel it come through the lugs. You don't need to push it on and have these protruding. So the further out you can keep them, the more clearance you're going to get anyway with this joint here. So just make sure that's not going to foul on the canopy. And then finally, we're going to do the tracking. The tracking is basically making sure that both blades are going to produce the same amount of lift. If one's giving more lift than the other, then you're not going to get a long flight time, and you're going to lose a lot of performance, and you're going to get vibration as well. So this part is quite important. What you need to do is bring your eye level right down level with these blade tips. It's not really probably going to show on here that well, but basically you want to be watching these tips here. Now this is a little bit dangerous, so because basically you're going to be holding the bee with the blade spinning. So hold it, I always hold it at the back here, just where the boom joins the main frame back here. Just hold it steady on the floor, on the deck. Just turn it, make sure it's free of your arm and your hands, and you're not going to be in the way of the gear wheel here. And when you know you're safe, you can start it up. Now you've got to be over halfway on your throttle. It's no good just having it spinning slowly, you've got to be at flying speed. So you've got to go over half throttle, and then watch these tips. Ideally, what you're going to have is just one outline of a blade spinning round. If you have two blades, you can see there's a gap between the two, then that means one's producing more lift than the other. When you see this happening, it's easier for me, I just bring my eye level up just slightly, so I'm just slightly looking down, and then you're going to see this tracking tape here, and you'll be able to see from there whether this white blade is higher, or the highest, or the lowest, because the blade you want to alter is the lowest blade. So you spin it up, you see if they're level. If one's harder than the other, come up slightly, see which has got the white tape on, then you'll know which is the lowest blade. And that's why I was saying before that when you come to balance it and you put your tape underneath, don't use white tape. Because if you've got white tape under here and then you've got your white tape on your tracking here, it makes it harder to determine which blade is the highest and the lowest. So you just hold it, give it a turn, it's free. So now we start it up, about 3/4 throttle. You look at the tip, and then you can see which is the highest and the lowest. So the first thing to do to be on the safe side is take the canopy off, disconnect the battery. It's a bit stiff, there you go. Right, now, let's just assume that it's the white blade that is the highest. So this blade will be the lowest. So this is the blade we need to alter. To alter the blade, what we have to do is hold it here. Do it so I can show you a bit better. Hold it firmly here and keep it level. Then with the other hand, hold it right near the tip, just in perhaps an inch or so. And then what you'll do with the lowest blade is tip it upwards, twist up. Okay? Now it's trial and error when you're first starting. If it's out quite a bit, then you need to give it quite a stiff twist, quite a bit of pressure. With that done, it's going to be the same thing again. Connect up the battery, start up the rotors, look and see which is the highest and lowest blade. If it hasn't moved or it still needs more, then stop, twist it some more, come back and start the rotors up again, and then look again. If it's out a lot and you're finding it hard to get to lift enough, you can try it in heat. Best way is with a hairdryer. Keep the hairdryer, obviously the hot air away from the electrics, but heat it up so it's nice and warm, then give it a twist and then let it cool down before you try again. One thing you really must remember, the lowest blade, don't simply try and pull it upwards, don't try and twist it to get the height right. You're not trying to get it the same height while it's stationary. The idea is the more twist you're giving it, the higher angle of attack, the more lift you're giving that lower wing, so that when it's rotating at flying speed, it's producing the same amount of lift as the other rotor, the other blade, so that they're going to be the same height, which means they're producing the same amount of lift and then you'll have a perfectly flying bee.